Hi Scorpio, great to see you. I've just been doing some spiritual work and I'm now in the mood to give you your Scorpio October reading using astrology, tarot, numerology and mystical knowledge, most of which is, well, some of which is not hidden and I can disclose to you. So let's see what there is in store for you. But first of all, thank you very much for stopping by. I do appreciate it. And from your comments, thank you so much for all your kind words, saying that you love your readings. Well, I hope you're going to love this reading too. In particular, hi to all those who leave comments from the United States and Canada, from the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Spain, Brazil, of all places, Iceland, and India. Hello to everyone in India and the Philippines, as well as Australia and New Zealand. Good to see you. I'm sure I've left a lot of people out, but I'll get you next time. Let's see what there is in store. Let me just do the spiritual work over it. Okay, that's leapt out. So that is the Ace of Swords that obviously wanted to come out. And out it is, the Ace of Swords. What else is there? I'm going to do 5 cards incidentally, because that will be more. There's the Ace of Cups. Interesting. There is the Moon card for you. There is the Chariot, and finally 5, because this is all we need. This gives us plenty to work on. Marvelous. You're going to love this, the 10 of Coins. Okay, why don't you, I'll bring a lamp over so that we can have a good, illuminate the cards so you can see all the lovely artwork on them. You sit down next to me and I'll do the reading for you. All right, Scorpio, let's have a look at what we have here. This looks great for you this month. I'm going to have a look at this card in the middle at the commencement of the reading. The Moon. Just let me reach around and get my pen because I think it will help me point out some of the matters that are here. Well, here we have a shadowy scene, don't we, in this Moon card with a very masculine moon here. I normally see the moon as being feminine, but it's depicted as masculine here. 2 towers, so it's a shadowy scene lit only by the moon. 2 towers with what is obviously an astrologer at that top of the tower, and here is a telescope, which would have been the telescope of Galileo. What we have down here is a violet-colored dog, which is really which is the form of Anubis, who was the Egyptian god of death. And there's opposite it is a wolf howling at the moon. Drops fall from the clouds, and coming out of the water is this giant crayfish. Well, what does this mean for you? The first thing that I'll say is that, for me, it is Neptune in Pisces with Venus exalted. And the question for you, I think, is it a reality or is it an illusion? Neptune may draw out mysticism and spirituality, and Neptune can often be the planet of illusion or delusion. Now, Pisces is very much associated with the subconscious, and which is sub meaning under. And where do crayfish feed and live? They live under the water, don't they? They live on the bottom, scouring what their nutrients from the bottom well under. And I think that Pisces, as well as being associated with the subconscious, it's also associated with emotions, intuition, and artistry. This is really, for me, the last of the major arcana cards to be associated with a zodiac sign. Now, Neptune's watery depths are associated with dreams, with visions, and the imagination, which links it in really quite well, I think, with the qualities of the moon. I think that this is suggesting that there is a time in your life when all is not as it appears to be. There is a situation, I think, which is deceiving. You may almost kind of, in a sense, also feel as if you are lost in life. You know, like if you get into an outer a part of the city which you're not at all familiar with, and it's dark at night and there are no signposts and you don't know which way to go. But this can often represent also the shadow self, the subconscious or hidden self, where perhaps you have been harboring some negativity, a negativity that you have suppressed or may not even be aware of. There is a need to release this destructive energy, is what this card is saying. Now, this may well relate to things that are going on in your life at the present, can relate to former relationships which you have had, can sometimes relate to feelings from childhood which haven't been dealt with, which have been repressed. And anyway, these things are repressed or have even been suppressed by you, and they're having a negative influence on your life at present. This can also be a very sexualized card and act as a harbinger, I think, for a very erotic relationship, one that can also be quite tidal, as the moon is associated with tides, is it not? Where there can be intensity, then lack of intensity, and intensity and lack of intensity. That could well be some of the action which is happening in relation to this card here. Having this thought, "O claim me, O wife, let thy veils open and thy veiling mists part to admit me to the mystery, to the unexplored wilds of thy being." Yeah. Neptune in the card relates to illusion, mysticism, spiritualism. The downside is that there is a danger sometimes of substance abuse. I'll be frank, I'll put it to you there. I'm not suggesting that this is something that you do, but just be on the lookout for it, because the moon is can sometimes be unpredictable. I mean, I know its cycles are predictable, but the energy that it has can be unpredictable. But anyway, I think that if there is a situation of yours which seems to be in that deceptive state, I actually think that this is going to be resolved by you. And the reason why I say that is because the first card that you drew was this card, the Ace of Swords. Now, aces are the suit of the element that they represent. In this case, they are the seed they're the seed of air, and they have the most potent. They are full of potential. They have an unlimited possibility attached to them. Let's have a look at some of the imagery, shall we, of this card. Here there is a very fine-looking sword, which is sticking straight up into the air. It has twined around it a snake with two horns, poking its tongue out. The top round here is what looks like a crown or a tiara. These are the symbols of the suit of spades in ordinary playing cups, and they are interspersed with lightning flames that are coming up. There are two wings on either side of it, red and green flames pour down from this image. These palms which are drooping down represent they symbolize secret martyrdom. Not that you're being a martyr, it's just that there's an esoteric thing I thought I'd throw in. Here is a wreath at the bottom. Upside down is a statue of victory. And here we have the figures, I assume, from the Hebrew and Christian book of Genesis, being the brothers Cain, this one here holding the produce from the land, and Abel holding a lamb. Well, that's all very interesting. What does it mean for you? And for me, I think that swords can be a strange suit because they're formed from the union of fire and water, from wands and cups. So it's always a complicated suit, and it can be disordered and subject to change like no other. Yet for me, I very much get the energy here that for you, this is the Lord of the root of the powers of air. Quick, fiery thoughts and ideas will be coming to you. You know, the mystics have said that the mind is the enemy of higher states of consciousness because it doesn't allow you to detach. I think what you need to do is make sure that what this is saying is that your intellect is going to be very strong during this period. I see the people around you as having some importance too at this time as being Aquarius, which is an air sign, incidentally. It could be other air sign, but also a Pisces and a Capricorn. Do you know, the reason why I think that this is all about will and willpower for you, I'm getting this month. These cards say different things to me at different times. I think that this is a period of great insight and clarity for you. It signifies almost a eureka moment, and achievement of your goals becomes much easier. You will push through any of the subterranean issues that may have been lurking around. I think you're just going to fly over the top of them because you have a new perspective on life that was previously unclear, and that's that again. So I think that you're getting this new perspective that was unclear, so that you can really get to the heart of the matter. You've gained a new vision and will pursue opportunities which draw upon your creative and mental abilities. And God, of anyone who's got mental abilities, it's you, isn't it? Now, this sword encourages you also to stand up for the rights of others. Now, that can obviously be taken in a very broad sense, or it can also mean standing up for yourself and for your personal values and belief. I think you will be gaining new insight and inspiration. You've come out of the clouds, you've come out of the subterranean world of confusion and doubt and into that of clarity. It's blue skies and forge ahead. Now let's talk about forging ahead, because here we have the Chariot. Well, the Chariot isn't it interesting that he should show up at this time? Because he clearly has something to say to you. And the Chariot is really one of my favorite energies, I think. Now, I think that although there really is the feeling around this card of... Oh, excuse me, I'll just bash that camera. That makes it a bit easier for you, doesn't it? Let's have a look at some of the imagery on the card. The Chariot is above a landscape. Now, this is Renaissance Italy. Now, I'm assuming that would be somewhere like, Verona, I suppose, at the foot of the Swiss Alps. Here the charioteer is in a square chariot with a blue canopy with stars in it. He's holding a scepter with an orb and an arrow on it. Nothing unremarkable about that. What is interesting is that, look at the reins that he's actually not holding the reins directly, but he appears to be holding the reins through a golden ring. The two horses, one white rearing up, the other black rearing down, they actually represent the two natures of you. That is, this one is your spiritual nature, and this is your more sensual nature. That is those things, dealing with those things that appeal to your senses, eyes, touch, taste, the world, and what have you. And the job of a charioteer, isn't it, is to make these two work in balance, in harmony with one another. Well, this is, for me, I call him the child of the power of waters, lord of the triumph of light. It is, for me, the moon ruling Cancer with Jupiter, the card of good luck and good fortune, exalted, so showing even more power than it does in its own sign of the one that follows you, Sagittarius. This is a symbol for victory, and it's about victory over adversity. I think it's true that you have come through something of a difficult period, haven't you? But you are now in the process of overcoming it. You will have the courage to act. It's all very well saying, look, I must act, but there has to be that emotion that's with the courage. You will have, not only will you know that you need to act in relation to things and move forward, but you'll have the courage to act. You will have success over previous negative patterns. I think we'll see that you have something of a focus on self-discipline. It's possible that there may be a period for you where you take some time out and have a bit of rest and contemplation, but definitely this is about moving forward towards higher goals. But remain centered and protect yourself. O amber heart, O crystal bell that rings once without end, I am the wine you bear in your ceremony. My will is to serve you alone. Am I fermented properly? Is the vintage ripe? Oh, that I may give pleasure to your mouth. Oh, my beloved. Yeah. I think that this is something of a time of change, moving forward, getting projects moving, really a need for you to change. I think you'll be a good motivator. There may be some travel involved in your life at the time. I'd have this affirmation in mind, and it is this, that I motivate others positively. I am responsible for what I cause. I accomplish things well and with ease. I think you'll need some change in variety and won't have any regard for anything that's dull and boring. I don't think you're going to necessarily be a detailed person during this month, but you will if it's necessary to get things moving along. So I think you're going to have that energy to move, to get things to happen. So I think it's great energy. I need to get energy like that. I need to get some things moving. But you've got the courage to act, you've got the move to act, and more importantly, you're getting the cosmos behind you saying, look, it's okay, you can do things, act. Now here is a beautiful card. This is the Ace of Cups. This Ace of Cups is, well, we'll start at the bottom there. Again, the same comment that I made before about the Ace of Swords. Here it is again in relation to cups, that it is the seed of the element. And I think that this actually really does relate to you this month, you know. And I think that Scorpio for me is all over this. I also see Sagittarius and Libra around as well. And the cup suit embody the experiences of relationships, the pursuit of happiness, love, fulfillment, pleasure. But of course, we don't know that we're going to have any of these things unless we've experienced the opposites of those. Let's have a look at some of the imagery. Here is a base. These things look like shards of ice. Now there is a cat lying on the shards of ice, unconcerned about them. A mother cat suckling a white, a black and a red kitten. Here is a shell, because it's cups of course, going up to the base. Lots of fruit all over here. And here is a 1, 2, 3, a hexagonal shaped cup full of water with a woman, a mother, suckling 2 infants, one on either breast, and she is being protected down here by 2 horned dolphins. Now again, this is Renaissance Christian deck from Italy of the period, so this would be a symbol of the Holy Ghost, which today they call the Holy Spirit. And it looks like there's a couple of drops of blood coming from it, which goes, whenever you see blood or the colour red or wine referred to in scriptures, always think divinity, because it's a metaphor for divinity. So changing water, which is about matter and material life, into wine, which is spiritual, divine action. So when you see blood and things like that, it is it's to do with divinity. Now that those drops of blood go down and all through the cup. Well, what can we say here? Well, we can say this. The first thing is that I think that with relationships, we're seeking to become whole by finding in others what we are lacking on our own. And this doesn't just have to be romantic relationships. This can be friendships, it can be family relationships, it can be work relationships, even business relationships like partnerships or suppliers and procurers and customers. This is really talking, I think, that there is available to you now love in its purest sense, abundance, very much the possibility of a new relationship. I am getting the feeling around here that you may well hear of a pregnancy or a birth, a lot of sensual passion. Isn't that interesting? Because I was also getting that with this card here, the moon, was I not? Yes, I was. So well done you, Scorpio. I think emotional balance is available to be used and drawn upon by you, during this period. This is the Lord of the root of powers of water. It is really the feminine counterpart of the Ace of Wands, if I was to put it in a nutshell. The cup of unconditional love is being offered to you now, so are you going to drink from it? I think that it speaks of a very good opportunity for relationships, and for those on the market for new romance, again, very much around birth and pregnancy getting up here. Look, the card I think represents unconditional love. So you should also give and forgive unconditionally in order to get inner peace. You realize that when you forgive someone, of course, that it's you who is released. It's not easy. It can take months to go through and forgive somebody. But if you don't, you've dropped an anchor back at that time. You're a ship. Use this watery sense. You're a ship. You've dropped an anchor back at the time where the events may well have occurred, and you're stuck there. But when you forgive, that anchor comes up and you sail on. And so psychologically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, it's in your best interest to forgive people and move on. I think really you can say to yourself that all-encompassing love fills me and my environment. If you have those thoughts with you, the fact is, it does occur. Now, what do we have here? This is the 10 of coins. Well, the artwork on this to me seems quite straightforward. I'd say this is that it looks very much of of a family tree, doesn't it? That's an oak tree in the foreground that's been planted. Those heads that are on it are those of members of a family, I would suggest. And I think that these towers in the background here are very well kept and wealthy. Yeah, very wealthy. Look, this is Mercury ruling the third decan of Virgo for me. And, the 13th to the 22nd of September. The Lord of the Power of Wealth, I call this card. Mercury ruling Virgo is what I see. But actually, in ordinary astrology, Mercury rules and is also exalted in Virgo. So you will have great communication skills during this period, and you'll be very good at organizing things. So there's success and abundance with this. This combination gives you success and abundance. Just the thoughts that I'm getting is just as a stream are richness, abundance, wealth, prosperity, lottery wins and inheritance, a supportive and tight-knit family business going well, good relationships with families in business is what I'm getting. I don't think it's wealth in the terms that Bill Gates or somebody or the Tata family in India would have. But there are the seeds being sown now for things to bring you an advance in your material position. And what it's also saying is just always be very careful of how you use money and use wealth, and use it wisely. Use it wisely and use it with good intent is also the words that are kind of coming through to me here. I think you've attracted to you, or you're going to attract to you, everyone who is a part of your life. You have created every situation in your life, and you create your own reality. The wealth in your hands is your own to do with what you like, but the responsibility is yours. It also says that, I think that wealth is, because this suit of coins isn't just money, but it's also lifestyle. It's about everything more than just money. It's also saying to me that look at what you do have. Look at the wealth that you do have in your life and enjoy those other things. Don't get caught up on what the balance of the credit card statement has to be, but look at the things in your life where you do have things. Also, on a piece of paper, write down all the qualities which constitute your inner riches, I would say. And I would have this affirmation in mind. I am internally and externally rich and free, and enjoy everything thankfully and in surrender. Look, you've had the most interesting set of cards I have seen for a long, long time. They have worked through in a very linear, logical progression and have said what fantastic things are in store for you. This could be one of your best months ever. Well, that's the way it is for you this month. Well, there we are. There it is. The month of October for you. I really hope you enjoyed that reading as much as I enjoyed giving it to you. I think it's going to be a fantastic month, and you've got great things in store for you, so well done. All I can say is this, is that you've been absolutely brilliant. You've been fantastic, as you always are, and really the only thing that remains for me to say is this, that you are a legend, and I look forward to seeing you again next month. Until then, bye for now.